Strategist James Carville foresees pivotal turning point for Trump amidst nationwide protests. Renowned political strategist James Carville has issued a strategic advisory to Democratic leaders in light of the widespread protests ignited by President Donald Trump's recent mass dismissal of federal employees. In a detailed discussion with MSNBC's Melber, Carville emphasized the importance of a calculated and restrained approach from Democratic politicians during this period of civil unrest. Strategic Counsel, advocating for deliberate restraint. Carville articulated a tactical perspective, suggesting that Democratic officials should adopt a stance of deliberate non-interference as public dissent intensifies. He drew upon rural American colloquialism to convey his point. "What I think they should do is what we call in rural America, play possum. Just let it go," Carville advised. He further elaborated, "Don't get in the way of it. Or, as we like to say, don't just stand there. Do nothing. Let this germinate." This counsel underscores a belief that the organic momentum of the protests could naturally precipitate a political shift unfavorable to the current administration. Analyzing the protests, a catalyst for political realignment. Carville offered an analytical perspective on the protests, likening them to an unstoppable force. "This freight train is moving, let's just get out of the way." He invoked a cultural reference to emphasize the timing of political engagement. In the immortal words of Dalton in Roadhouse, "Be nice until it's time not to be nice." And that time is coming shortly. This analogy suggests a strategic patience, allowing the protests to evolve before political leaders actively intervene. Critique of moderation, addressing the gravity of the situation. Addressing voices that advocate for moderation, Carville challenged the notion that the public's reaction is disproportionate. He asserted, "No one is overreacting. We're living in real time in a catastrophe." This statement reflects his assessment of the severity of the current political and social climate, implying that the protests are a justified response to significant governmental actions. Anticipating a political inflection point. The significance of November 5th. Looking ahead, Carville identified a critical date that could serve as a barometer for the administration's standing: the November 5th gubernatorial election in Virginia. He highlighted the potential impact of federal employees and their families, particularly in Northern Virginia, on the electoral outcome. "Think about the turnout among federal employees," Carville noted. "What % of the voters in Northern Virginia are federal employees or families of federal employees? Do you think they're going to vote? I think they're going to vote. I think I know going to vote, and they're going to vote heavily." This analysis suggests that recent administrative actions affecting federal workers could galvanize a significant voter turnout, potentially influencing the election's results. Contextual backdrop, administrative actions and legal challenges. The protests and Carville's commentary occur against a backdrop of substantial administrative measures. President Trump, in collaboration with Elon Musk's Department of Government, has initiated extensive budget reductions, leading to the closure of various departments and the termination of numerous federal employees. In response, attorneys general from 14 states have instituted legal proceedings to halt further dismissals, with a judicial ruling anticipated in the near future. These developments underscore the contentious and dynamic nature of the current political landscape. Conclusion: strategic patience amidst political turbulence. Carville's insights advocate for a strategy of measured restraint by Democratic leaders, allowing the protests to organically influence public opinion and potentially reshape the political environment. His emphasis on the upcoming Virginia gubernatorial election as a pivotal moment suggests that electoral outcomes may serve as a referendum on the administration's recent policies, particularly those affecting federal employees. As the situation progresses, the interplay between public protest, political strategy, and electoral results will be critical in determining the future trajectory of the current administration.